Hari Om. Ayurveda, the science of life, is India's answer to the allopathic medicine of the West. However, it exists for thousands of years now, providing a holistic approach to mental, physical, and spiritual well-being that is fast gaining acceptance in the West too. This ancient system of natural medicine is based on the principle of the 5 elements: space, air, fire, water, and earth, to restore natural harmony to our minds, bodies, and souls. Today we delve deep into the world of Ayurveda, where medicine and spirituality are combined to establish balance and promote healthy living.
India, a land steeped in the timeless tradition of temples. Its history, threading through legends and scripture, meticulously handed down from generation to generation. A land with the allure of the mystical, almost magical miracle of medicine.
The word Ayurveda is a Sanskrit word. It means Ayurveda. Ayur means life, Veda means science. It is science of life, or you can call it science of longevity. Ayurveda actually came from nature.
From faith in a oneness, the saints and sages of yore left a legacy of time-tested tinctures, a pharmacy of formulae that has been India's system of healing for thousands of years.
It's given to us by our great rishis, and it's actually the lessons God has given us to live a more wholesome life, okay? So based on that, you can see that there's a religious slant to Ayurveda.
Because Ayurveda is about life, then the elements of life, the aspects that make up life are the body, the mind, the senses, and our spiritual nature. So Ayurveda has the deep insight into every aspect of life. It's not dealing only with the body or only with the mind. A true medical science must traverse all of those areas.
India's system of healing looked at man as an integral part of a bigger picture, with nonetheless profound insight into his material being.
The actual concept of Ayurveda is very ancient. It goes back more than 40,000 years. There are texts that describe in the ancient history of India that physicians were practicing this medicinal science. But it became collated when there was the first conference of sages, who were the wisdom keepers of India, and they came together and they collated the information of Ayurveda into a practical body of knowledge that we today know as the Ayurvedic texts. Chief amongst them was a sage called Charaka, and he codified, put it down into written form, this body of knowledge. And another sage called Sushruta, he codified the surgical aspects of Ayurveda. And then another sage called Ashtanga also put together all the botanical aspects of the herbs that are used and how to prepare them and use them. So 5,000 years ago, the knowledge came into a written form.
Ayurveda in South Africa is as old as the ancient Indians. And we obviously practiced Ayurveda informally from our grannies and our mothers, and they brought along with them their home remedies and their seasonal cyclical practices.
And if we look at the history of our forefathers, medical facilities were not really available, at their disposal. So they would need a backup plan if someone got ill. And that was when they, took their folk knowledge back from India, and they would actually apply it in, a person who's ill.
India's forebears recognized the healing properties of natural herbs and spices and their relation to the 5 elements in maintaining and restoring health. The principles of Ayurveda have always been applied and integrated into diet, healing and exercise in India. Over time, the great healing powers of this system of alternate therapy spread throughout the rest of the world.
There are three main doshas in our body. We call it Vata, Pitta and Kapha. Vata is made of air and ether. Pitta is made of fire and water. Kapha is made of water and earth. Whenever these three basic doshas stays in a state of balance and harmony in our body, natural health prevails. And whenever they are out of order, that is where our immunity starts going down. That is where the disorder starts.
How a dosha comes about, or how it operates in the human body, is from the genetic makeup of that individual. So the genes coming from the father and the mother will dictate how much of the Vata principle, the Pitta principle, and the Kapha principle is actually operating in that individual. And that's a genetic thing. The essential way Ayurveda is practiced is that the first aspect of a consultation is to define or identify the person's body type, his prakriti. In other words, who is experiencing the illness. We then detect the imbalance, which means how far has this person deviated from what is his norm, and in which areas. Is it in the Vata, Pitta, or Kapha areas?
The diagnosis is meticulously carried out to determine a person's body type and imbalance and play a vital role in diagnosis and treatment.
So from that description, we can actually predict what the doshas will do. So it's almost like reading a person's genetic spec design. It's telling us, here's what's going to happen in this person's body. So if, for example, the Vata process is working prominently, Vata governs all aspects in the human body relating to movement, communication, transport. So your breathing process, for example, breathing in or breathing out, is a Vata process. All movement of nutrients through your gut is a Vata process. All your elimination processes are a Vata process. Even menstruation is a Vata process. And the Pitta process is mainly metabolic. It governs things like hormones, enzymes, any transformation in the body. And Kapha, by its nature, its earth, water elements, is responsible for the structural stability of the body. So it's responsible for the strength of your tissue, your vitality, your immunity, your resistance to disease, your ability to overcome disease, and so on. And so that combination then describes the whole biological functioning of the body.
According to Ayurveda, our natural state is one of health, happiness, and an inner sense of well-being. Health is defined as the body being clear of toxins, the mind is at peace, emotions are calm and happy, wastes are efficiently eliminated, and the organs are functioning normally.
Apart from taking the detailed history, there is one very important diagnostic tool that is in Ayurveda, and Ayurveda is known throughout the world through pulse. Like they know, like every Ayurvedic doctor, check the pulse. So whenever we check the pulse gives us information about the doshas. For example, this first finger when we put on the wrist, that tells us about the Vata, second finger tells us about the Pitta, and third finger tells us about the Kapha. So we see the movement of the pulse differently. That gives us information about the Vata, Pitta, Kapha in the person. Also, it gives us the information about the circulating toxins, and also one very important thing, that is Agni. Agni means the fire, the digestive fire, and all the metabolism and the catabolism. So that's what we check. First Ayurvedic approach is to find out the root cause. Unless we find out the root cause, we cannot take care of the disorder. So many people these days, they come, they say, oh, they can't sleep, they are stressed, please give us some Ayurvedic medicine. Medicine is medicine. Medicine is there just to undo the damage that has been done to the system. But unless we take care of the cause, we cannot cure stress. And cause is in our lifestyle, in our diet. So that is very important to take care.
In a busy, stressful and toxic world, our physical and mental systems accumulate toxins, allowing degenerative and chronic diseases to develop. Panchkarma is an Ayurvedic process that helps to reverse these negative effects of daily living.
Panchkarma is a very important part in Ayurveda. Panchkarma consists of detox therapies. Through Panchkarma, we try to take out the deep-seated physical and mental toxins out of body. Panchkarma literally means 5 basic therapies. Shirodhara means, Shir means head, Dhara means pouring oil. In Shirodhara, we pour oil on the forehead basically. Shirodhara is very, very important to improve the quality of sleep.
This is where warm herbalized oil is poured over specific marma points over the forehead, and it gently shuts down the nervous system, allowing it to restore. Primarily, it's managing what is called pranavata. So in severe distress, mental disorders, panic disorders, epilepsy, acute depression, endogenous depression, bipolar patterns, the Shirodhara enables that brain to literally recover and reset itself. Very powerful de-stressing technique.
Many of the Panchkarma techniques are known for their beneficial effects on overall health, wellness, and self-healing.
Kati Basti is also one of the treatment that we give in Ayurveda. Kati means the lower back. So people suffering from lower back, spondylosis, all kind of, sometimes the back is caught. So they come to an Ayurvedic doctor for these kind of treatment, and then after examination, then Ayurvedic doctor decide what treatment to give. In Kati Basti, we use a black gram flour. We make a round circle and we put at the lower back in the lumbar sacral region, and then we pour the hot medicated oil. We keep it there for 15 to 20 minutes, sometimes even little more. And if the oil start getting cold, we keep changing the oil. And after that, we massage that part, and then we do hot fermentation with the towel. So that helps a lot with lower backache.
So essentially, healing in Ayurveda is bringing the person back as close to their birth pattern as possible. And that then leaves them with a lifestyle that allows them to stay in balance.
I also prescribe a do's and a don'ts list. I give them a list of foods that are according to their constitution, their body constitution, and I would actually suggest foods that they need to eat in order to balance out their doshas and to ensure that one dosha does not get aggravated over the other. And I would actually suggest a don'ts list, a don'ts diet, which actually would entail them avoiding certain foods that would cause ill health.
One of the major things about the Ayurvedic food choice is that it supports the use of whole food, not processed, canned, pre-packaged things. So Ayurveda has an understanding of the type of food, so you have to match it to the body type. Now in a family you could have like different body types, and so you can prepare a kind of what's called a tridoshic meal.
In Ayurveda, the most important thing is to work on the Agni, or the digestive fire in the body. And we do that by increasing the digestive processes. If we increase the digestive processes, and the body is able to assimilate nutrients and process nutrients properly, and then we have health. If that is disordered in any way, then we have ill health. Now, in order to aid that naturally, we use spices in our foods. Instead of using medication all the time, we use spices.
In the Indian context, spices play a vital role in our state of being. affecting not only the body, but the mind and senses as well.
It's good to have sprouts every single day, and if ever, when you're at home, try to reduce the content of your oil and according to Ayurveda, sprouts, it's good for all types of diseases, and it's very good especially if you have psoriasis, skin diseases, indigestion, and even female disorders.
A very good example of that is literally ginger. Okay, ginger is an amazing Agni amplifier. You can use ginger in your cooking in terms of when you're adding it to a meal, when you're preparing the meal, or later on after the meal. And that increases the Agni, or the digestive fire, and that helps you to assimilate, digest and assimilate the nutrients in your diet. There are other spices like jeera or cumin. There's turmeric, which is your hardi or your haldi, your manja. There's coriander, which is your dhania. All these herbs and spices are Agni amplifiers, and they're used according to the different doshas of the patient.
Although almost all of Indian spices are rooted in Ayurveda, today spice shops are replete with spicy mixes that cater to taste. But taste is only up to the tongue, and not all spices have the potency of pure herbs.
Turmeric is a panacea, and the reason for that is that there's a lot of Western research being done on turmeric. Every herb, every spice also has an energy that it brings with it. And turmeric has a purifying, cleansing energy.
Many of the Ayurvedic preparations have found their way into allopathy as well, with the merits of the different herbs, roots, tubers and flowers being slowly understood by modern science. But in Ayurveda, the treatment remains traditional.
There are 4 things very important in our body. First is digestion, second is excretion, third is sleep, 4 is breathe. These are the 4 pillars of health. If these 4 things are in order, in tune, there is a natural immunity. Body won't develop any disorder in most cases. These days, what happens whenever we're not eating well, timing of eating is not right, digestion starts going off. The moment digestion goes off, naturally the excretion cannot be better. Excretion is not better, the quality of blood is not right. Quality of blood is not right, nutrition is low. That is where the toxin starts accumulating in the body, and that affects the natural state of sleep. If our sleep is not right, our breathing won't be right. Breathing is shallow, oxygen is low. So combination of all these 4 things, if they go out of order, there is a one thing we call it prana, the life energy start coming down. Life energy is our protection, our immunity against all chronic disorder.
Today's modern lifestyle remains the root cause of imbalance and sickness. It is so easy to fall into a diet that is not adequately monitored. How can one be sure of the source of a meal? Most fast foods or convenient foods are subject to adulteration through being overprocessed, reheated, or even refrigerated, all catering to an on-demand culture of convenience and taste. An important goal of Ayurveda is to determine where a person is out of balance and offer intervention using diet, herbs, aromatherapy, massage treatments, music, and meditation to re-establish balance. The various dishes prepared in Indian homes have been passed on from generation to generation and contain elements of the science of Ayurveda. Every particle of food consumed has a direct impact on the various functions of the body. According to Ayurveda, there are 6 tastes that each meal must consist of: sweet, sour, salty, bitter, astringent, and pungent are not merely tastes, but unlock the nutritional, healing value in the food we consume.
Most of the cases I find the stress comes when the quality of sleep is not right. Number of hours are not important, how many hours you're sleeping in the night. It's the quality of sleep that is very important. According to Ayurveda, there is a time in the night when we are supposed to touch the deepest core of our being. We call it yogic sleep or baby sleep. These days, because people, they are too much like a preoccupied with so many things, so when they go to bed, their mind is too active. As a result, they do not touch the deepest core of their being. As a result, when they wake up in the morning, they still feel tired because they did not have quality sleep. Continuously, if they start missing, they keep missing the quality sleep, that is where the energy level starts going down and they start feeling a kind of stress.
Now in Ayurveda, we use meditation especially for stress-induced disorders, but also to bring the mind and body back to balance. Okay, meditation, it has found in Western research to have decreased the brain waves in the amygdala in the brain, which reduces the fear complex in human beings. It's also thought to increase the brain waves in the right frontal cortex, and that also alleviates stress and brings calm to the nervous system.
Exercise can be understood in different ways. You have energy depleting exercise, then you have energy repleting. It stores and builds energy. Things like yoga, even Tai Chi, Qigong are energy repleting.
Exercise is a key element to finding a natural balance in the body. The types of exercise the body is engaged in will impact on that balance, and some yoga techniques are actually meant to massage internal organs as well.
So when you try to live outside of the laws of nature, like, for example, you think you can spend the night partying for like 10 hours and do that a couple of days, and you're ignoring the natural sleep rhythm, you will pay the price for that. If you ignore the type of foods that are suitable to your body and you eat foods that are totally wrong for you, you will pay the price for that. So you start to induce imbalance. So essentially, nature and Ayurveda are really the same thing. You're describing the nature through Ayurvedic principles. It's a language that describes it, but it's there everywhere in the world. So in a sense, Ayurveda is not an Indian science. It is actually a science of nature. It applies to any human being anywhere in the world. It doesn't matter your language, culture, religion. You can describe the same laws for everyone.
If you're able to practice the diet and lifestyle techniques of Ayurveda to the best of your ability, you're able to uplift yourself spiritually as well. Because any form of disease or disorder is essentially a human being thrown off balance spiritually, then mentally, then physically. And if you're able to bring yourself back to balance spiritually with the practice of Ayurveda and your spiritual practice, then you find that most disorders and diseases are alleviated.
There is one thing in our body, we call it biological clock. Once you are aware of that biological clock, then there is a natural wisdom, there is a natural intelligence. Then you know what time to eat, what not to eat, what time to sleep, what time not to sleep. As a human being, it's very important in these days to be aware of our biological clock.
Every aspect of nature has a rhythm and pattern. The planets, the waves, night and day, even man.
Man cannot live outside of the laws of nature. You are intricately connected with it, and no matter what you try to do, eventually you will be governed by it. So it is in fact a very ancient system, but its relevance is still primary today.
Keeping up with the fast pace of the 21st century, there comes a time when one needs to step back and assess the quality of one's life. Sometimes this is forced on us by sickness. Ayurveda is not just a treatment to cure a disease, it's a treatment to cure the dis-ease of life. It is to restore tranquility, equanimity, and balance, the way nature intended.